Welcome back, AI Explorers. We're excited to have you on our channel today. And Jacob and I are going to be talking about a number of new things that have come to our attention in the realm of AI for a variety of different applications and uses.
So, Warren, you've been telling me about how this last week the last 2 weeks you've been out, and so we haven't been able to record. But you've been attending a conference, a fishing trip, which you might want to tell us more about, and then also visited, what was it, a realtors conference for marketing and social media, and they did highlight some artificial intelligence tools, and you also gave a presentation, not at that conference, but to a group of a real estate group. And so just kind of tell us what you've been up to the last couple of weeks and what you've learned in the space of artificial intelligence, because it's super cool.
Well, AI is moving in leaps and bounds. It's hard to keep up with a number of the things that are going on, honestly. And specifically the conference that I went to for these real estate professionals, the CREI Summit, that was held this year in Atlanta. Next year it's going to be in California. But it was a fantastic insight. One individual, Topher Stevenson, he got up and explained a lot of the tools that he's seeing that can help real estate professionals. And I want to share some of those with our audience. So let me let me pull some of those up. Obviously, if you've been on our channel, you know Midjourney and ChatGPT. So he also shared Midjourney and ChatGPT with folks, but he also showcased a number of other things. And one of them was this Perplexity AI, which is a new tool that I had been unfamiliar with. It's similar to ChatGPT. It has a little bit more capabilities browsing the web and with real-time data. As OpenAI continues to expand their knowledge base for ChatGPT, this group has really gone forward with what search is going to look like and expanding to where it's browsing the web, from research papers to Reddit posts and other things. So take it with a grain of salt, because Reddit posts can be a little, Wild West.
I think that's an important aspect of any time you use an artificial intelligence tool, is that you have to understand the bias of the training material. And
yeah, for sure.
And I'll get to this a bit when I talk about ChatGPT's latest update. But a lot of people think that these tools are thinking, that they're sentient or something like that. I'd say we're nowhere close, because at the end of the day, it's an algorithm, right? It's not thinking in the traditional sense. It is playing a massive, very complicated logic game. So, but anyway, take it away. Keep talking about Perplexity here.
Okay, so Perplexity, and I ran this initial thing. How is this different? And it talks about its real-time search capabilities, source transparency, so it gives footnotes and other information about what it's using. And then it talks about leveraging other platforms. So here it's talking about ChatGPT-4, Claude 3, Mistral Large, and other proprietary models. And we can see here it has this quick search mode, pro search. So there are a number of other capabilities in the versioning and other focuses that they have, where ChatGPT might be a little behind on that journey. Where I've talked with others and shared information about this, I still am personally a huge fan of ChatGPT, just because they seem to be the ones that everyone is chasing. Obviously, Perplexity here saying that they're using ChatGPT
built on ChatGPT
as a base model. So obviously these individuals and others are chasing ChatGPT and OpenAI's learnings. What are your thoughts on that perspective?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that ChatGPT is the industry leader, but I think the way you pitched Perplexity AI to me, and the way that I look at many of these other tools as well, like the Gamma tool that you mentioned, and I think you're going to show here in a minute, is that you've got your base models, you've got something like ChatGPT. And I think we mentioned this before, like Neil deGrasse Tyson said something about how a lot of these AI tools have to be trained for specific purposes. So I'd say ChatGPT is your great general use tool. But people are out there developing, like Jasper has been out there for content marketing even before ChatGPT was its own standalone application. And I'm pretty sure that it was using OpenAI's tools through its API before. And Jasper seemed like magic to a lot of people. And so you've got the opportunity to specifically train these base models to do more complex or more integrated tasks. Like, I think the most popular example that we have today of artificial general intelligence is Tony Stark. He's designing the Iron Man suit and he's talking to Jarvis and he's like, make the cufflinks, make the cuffs, the armor, and it's all like, sure, I'll do that for you. But the reality is for artificial intelligence, at least where we stand today, I think we're light years away from that. And I know that everybody says it's going to get exponential and speed up even faster. But I do think that it's probably possible today to train an artificial intelligence, perhaps to do each of those tasks independently, right? That you see being done, but probably very unlikely to find that in one central location. And so when I see a tool like Perplexity, I'm all like, okay, but it has a specific focus, right? Kind of like niche websites. Like you can go to Facebook for social media, or you can go to like your runners group forum, right, for social media if you're just really into running. And so just like niche sites exploded online, I think we're going to see niche AI tools kind of really take over different spaces. And this could be one of them.
Yeah, and I like what you said. And we've experienced this in our own exploration of AI. When we give it too many tasks, it really doesn't do well with that, all of that. It's like, oh, but when we give it a singular task, it's like, okay, I can dedicate all my thinking to this. Where a human component, if you said, give me XYZ, and you gave it a list of 20 different things, it's going to look at that and go, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. Where AI really hasn't keyed into that. It's like trying to do it all, and then it's just producing garbage.
Well, we will look at that in a sec. So the newest ChatGPT model has this process where it stops to quote unquote think before it provides a response. And so you'll get to kind of see what that looks like, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Well, I'm excited to learn more. So maybe my supposition just now is totally incorrect now. Well, but that was, 3 weeks ago, that was the case.
Well, let me jump in. We're just having a casual conversation. I know you have your other tools, right. So I'll jump in with a tangent here.
No, let's jump in there.
Okay, so this is the ChatGPT preview 01 preview, right? And so, for example, it has these sample prompts. How many R's are in strawberry? And this was making the rounds on the internet recently because a lot of the AI models, including ChatGPT, couldn't get this right or sometimes wouldn't get this right. So if you look at the word strawberry, there are 3 R's, but it would frequently come back and say, there are 2 R's in strawberry. And the reason why is it would tokenize the word and break it apart into little pieces. And again, it's solving a math problem, okay? But if I click here, you're gonna see that it gets it right, okay? So it has this thinking, position 3, position 8, position 9. So now it can tell that there are 3 R's in strawberry. Now, it also has this is a more complex question. These are just, again, the sample prompts.
Hot dog a sandwich? That's a philosophical discussion right there, my friend.
But look, it gives the answer, which you're used to from ChatGPT. But here's its thought process. It goes, okay, I'm clarifying the question, right? Okay. It's telling itself this. And I wonder if it's like adding this information to the model on its own before it answers and bases its answer off of this additional information, which you and I have talked about how like you have to do the thinking for ChatGPT to get a good answer, but now it's doing some thinking on its own. It's okay. In a way, it's kind of training itself a little. I don't like to use that word because I don't think it's accurate. But we can see here, it's like clarifying the question. Let me see. I'm making sure I understand this question, which again is something you sometimes had to do with prior models. It involves exploring different definitions and acknowledging cultural discussions, all right? Frankly, it's thinking through this thought process better than most human beings would, right? It's interesting to see that the question of whether a hot dog is a sandwich involves a debate on what defines a sandwich. The traditional definition is 2 slices of bread with something in between, while a broader definition could include any dish or food within or between bread, right? But I would say, no, what about a euro, or what about a whole host of things, right?
Right.
So let me see. Structurally, a hot dog looks like a sandwich, but in cultural and culinary terms, it often stands alone. So it's questioning culture, it's questioning culinary definitions, it's questioning the general definition, and then it provides these answers. Now, so is a hot dog a sandwich? The answer is both yes and no, right?
It depends. I love it.
So let me show you one other thing though. I did a test when it first came out, which was
this question. And I'm sorry, just got to interrupt real quick. Earlier this week, we had chicken salad sandwiches for dinner, and my son asked, "Why do they call this salad?" And I was, and your hot dog question is making me go, maybe I should feed that to ChatGPT and ask it, why is chicken salad considered a salad? So I'm going to experiment with that later.
You're going to ask it that later?
Yeah,
I want to show you 2 comparisons. So this is GPT-4, right? And this is something that I frequently do in my job as a lawyer and immigration lawyer, right? And so the first thing I do when I get these tools is, how can I make my employees' lives easier, my attorneys' lives easier? Is this something I can use? So this is a question, right? This is a common factual scenario, and there's some nuance here in the law. And so I thought, okay, if it's developing the ability to think about these issues, how much better of a response to this specific prompt am I going to get out of the preview versus GPT 4.0, right? So we've got this question: act as an expert in U.S. immigration and asylum law. I've got a client that's been the subject of gang threats. This is an unfortunately common scenario. The threats never directly mention the threats are coming on account of family relationships, so there's a legal requirement there. But multiple family members are mentioned in the threats, even though they're not asking. They're asking for money, like give me money or else, right? And then they'll say, we know your daughter's schedule and those kinds of things. So most of the threats seem to focus on extortion demands. Does this client satisfy the nexus requirement? Again, a very specific niche legal issue where in Virginia, so Fourth Circuit law applies. Then it gives me this answer. Now, I've read through this answer. I called in some of the other lawyers. I said, what did you think of this answer? And we agreed that it's not bad. It's not great. It's kind of a middling writing. It's okay, right? Now, Keep in mind that I think ChatGPT version 3.5 passed multiple state bars, right?
Yes.
So GPT-4 was already reasoning beyond that, and I'm sure it could pass even more state bar exams. This is the response from the new model, okay? And it's the same prompt. It thought through this process, right, which I thought was pretty valuable. And then
I like that they include that thought process, so you can kind of see how the AI is considering it, and honestly, it's helping me think through some of my own
how
questions
you would prompt
a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, and then also, like, if it weighed something wrong, if its thought process is flawed, you can address that, right? So I'm going to close its thought process, but look, you can already tell, like, it's bolding things that matter, right, on account of the nexus requirement. It's easier to read. And when you really take the time to read it, the prose is better. There's an actual case citation, right? This is a significantly better response. And then this model is supposed to hallucinate less. It's not perfect. We've already discovered that. But these citations are on point. As somebody who studies this, right? Oh. These citations are correct. Not always the case in the past.
You vetted those. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then it provides just better structure, better answers. It really is kind of a cut above. And so if I was to compare these two responses, I'd say, well, this response, I'd give it, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5 or a 6. Like, it's pretty boring writing. And so it doesn't really make a good point. It's just like, it states the law correctly. It's accurate. This is like compelling writing. Like, if you look at this and you consider it, it captures the nuance way better than the other version. So if the other version's like a 5 or a 6, I'd say this is 8.5. Maybe we're even pushing 9. It writes better than some lawyers I know, that's for sure. right? So
Okay.
fascinating that it can do that already. And I thought we were still a little bit a ways away from that. So you were saying though, like that it doesn't have the ability to, I guess, contextualize information, but now it does. This new model can contextualize. Fascinating, right?
Well, yeah, no, I like the contextual nature of that, but I was talking more specifically about multiple things, having it trying to accomplish multiple different tasks at the same time, and it still struggles with that. I mean, take
We should
Midjourney,
do
for
some
example.
tests.
Right,
Later
we'll have
when
to
we're
do
not
some
on
tests.
camera, we'll have to do some tests.
Right.
Or maybe when we are on camera.
record-
But we got to pick a thing, like a complex question to ask it. Anyway.
Right. We'll have to study that. But yeah, what you've shown with their new model, and I think we've spoken about this before. I mean, we're seeing publicly something that they've worked on for months, and probably 3 versions behind, perhaps, what they've got underway.
Yeah, they put on their website and I didn't read through it completely, but I did look at it, the safety information behind the model. So they're trying to be public about saying, this is what we did for safety, because that's a big criticism that's out there.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look that up. I'm excited to read that, hear that.
Yeah.
But I do like the strawberry thing. That made me laugh because I was like, oh, I've got to test that out. And sure enough, version 4 was like, 2. And I was like, no, there's 3, but okay. But, I have a hard time spelling words myself sometimes. I mean, the word...
so it's no worse than your average human.
Yeah, the word any, I every time I come to that word, I'm like, how the heck do I spell that? And it's 3 letters, for crying out loud. But the tokens in my brain are like,
the tokens in your brain. My personal AI is not functioning right now.
My personal AI. So that's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
The first time I read about the how many R's in strawberry thing, I hopped over to ChatGPT and asked it, how many R's are in strawberry? And it's like 3, and it got it right. And I was like, okay, so maybe they like specifically trained that. And I'm like, how many R's are in strawberry? It's like 2. I'm like, is it 2 or 3, guys? It's so funny to see it go back and forth. Anyway,
and then suddenly it says 5, and you're like,
well, are we sure about this? No, it
now
never got
when
to
it
5.
spits out the answer 42, I'll have some concern.
Well, I'm not going to, apparently I have a limited number of preview prompts, but I'm going to ask it, what is the answer to the universe, right?
No, life, the universe, and everything.
So to life, the universe, and everything. Let's see what it comes back with.
I hope it comes back with
says,
deep blues.
is 42 according to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. There you go. All right. Well, you were showing us some stuff. So we looked at Perplexity. We debated kind of how these models can't multitask or multitask as well as humans, which is not at all.
So another tool that Topher showed in his work was Gamma AI, Gamma app here. And let me zoom in a little bit. They have a really cutesy commercial about making a commercial with their own tool, and you can create presentations, websites, and more. And his showing of this, it honestly scared me.
Yeah.
As a marketer who makes and designs certain things. I mean, I was already experienced with Canva and their use of AI and other platforms, but this can make documents and presentations. Now, some of the specifics aren't there, and we're very keen, you and I are very keen on specification, specificity when it comes to using AI. So some of the specifics weren't really there, but it allows you to then edit afterward and insert your own graphics and redo some of the text if you didn't. Right, and your own way of doing these things. So from a marketing perspective, I was stunned, shocked, and a little afraid. But from another perspective, I was excited to see, it was breaking new boundaries and bringing in new things and new options and making a marketer's work easier, honestly, because at the end of the day, it's still, AI is inert unless someone is behind it doing something with it. It can make our work easier, and now it's making our work easier along a lot of fronts. What are your thoughts when I showed you some of this earlier?
Well, just now when you said that, I was thinking artificial intelligence requires human will, right? Like in order to create anything.
Right.
And then the next piece that I would say, my initial thoughts were, to me at this stage, right? And these tools get better and better every time. And we just looked at the 1.0 or 01 preview. I forget what the model's name is, but it's already advanced so much. Like that writing is, I would say, a significant advantage over GPT-4, right? In terms of the model and its sophistication. So when you showed me the Gamma app and we looked at how it can make documents and those kinds of things, the first thing that I think is somebody who owns a business. So I've got my law firm. I care a lot about the brand. You helped me design the brand. It's a good visual brand. Like people comment on it. They're like, man, you got your marketing set, right? And so if I were to use a tool like this, I still wouldn't be satisfied with the end results because it's not quite as custom as I would want it to be. I think for people who currently use Canva, this is what you should start using now, right? Like this is a definite Canva competitor, and Canva is already starting to integrate AI tools. Like after you showed me this, we started searching, and Canva AI now does a lot of things similar to this. And you introduced this tool to me, so I haven't like looked at it completely yet. I'm excited to. And so there's definitely, I think this is a game changer again, if you're a social marketer and you maybe design graphics for 20 different people. And so I think, a lot of agencies can now cut off, if they've got multiple graphic designers, you might be the odd man out, right? I mean, honestly, that's how good this tool already is. But I think when it comes to like high-end designers who craft very specific brands, I think your job is still safe. Again, we've talked about this before. The ultra specialization people, they're going to be fine. And the people who are learning to use artificial intelligence in their job already, they're going to be fine. So learning to use this tool is going to help you hold on to that marketing, branding, social media position for longer.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is so true, but it also, these things bring two quotes to mind, talking about AI and taking over your job. It isn't AI that's going to take over your job. It's someone using it that is going to take your job.
Yes.
And then on the marketing perspective, then the design perspective, AI can't give you good taste. So if you go into this, and this is quoted by Elizabeth Goodspeed, that AI can't give you good taste, but if you go into this and you change the font to Comic Sans, I'm going to smack you because that's awful. Do not use that in a professional setting. My feelings on Comic Sans and a number of other fonts.
The Virginia State Bar exam? No, did I tell you about that? You
No,
just said
share.
you just said you should never use Comic Sans in a professional setting. All right, if you're with the
Yes,
Virginia
and
State
I will
Bar,
die on that hill.
if you're at the Virginia State Bar and you happen to stumble across this, when I took the bar exam, there's the multi-state bar exam, the multiple choice, and then you get to the Virginia specific portion and the essay portion, and I kid you not, the instructions were in Comic Sans. Please stop. Like the instructions, the most important test of my life, and the instructions are in Comic Sans. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, come on. But anyway,
third graders and
lawyer now for 12
crayons.
years, so.
Third graders with crayons aren't even, it's not even worthy to be used for them, much less the professionals.
Really dislike Comic Sans. You feel about Comic Sans the way Ryan Gosling feels about Papyrus, is that?
But Papyrus, yes, that SNL skit, that's fantastic.
It's my favorite skit. Oh, man. Anyway.
Yeah. But I want to reiterate something with Gamma here, and it goes back to, a lot of people are basing their new tools on the shoulders of those that have created stuff. And so looking at Gamma's frequently asked questions here on their site, it says, we leverage a number of AI models. They talk about Claude, but at least they're giving, some kickback to that. ChatGPT and DALL-E, Gemini and Imogen, Flux, Stable Diffusion, Playground, and Ideogram. So they're using these tools in a very specific way with some really refined prompting. When we went through this process, you can see it helps you come up with that specificity, right? And that, again, is key to using artificial intelligence.
Right. That was the first thing that I was all like, that's all it's asking for, the prompt. And then you're like, hold on. And then you clicked the next button and then it dropped down and asked for additional details. And I'm like, see, they're taking the manual steps that we would take with a ChatGPT to generate the content. They're doing it within their platform. And then they're basically taking something like Stable Diffusion, generating the image, mapping the content that's created through Claude or ChatGPT on top of it. So they're doing an additional function beyond the AI as well, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a neat tool, and I liked it a lot. I thought it does a great job.
Yeah. And then let's jump to another tool. So Gamma, it helps with marketing materials. I have some concerns, but I think they're good concerns, and I think they're when there's challenges placed before us, it's time for us to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And this is a new tool that I mean, I've tinkered with it a little bit, but I haven't really dove into using it. But this creates video in a variety of ways, text to video and then image to video. And it is fantastic.
So the first thing that you need to show is the picture of the Dalmatian generated from Midjourney.
Okay.
And then the video that this made from that picture, because it's incredible. It is just, I couldn't believe that artificial intelligence. So check out this image. Think about this. This dog does not exist, right? But if you put this in a video somewhere, most people aren't going to. So this dog.
Okay, so this dog was created by Midjourney. I created this cute little Dalmatian with the fall leaves. And then I dropped this into Runway and said, I want you to have the dog running toward the camera, running through these fall leaves. And here's what we get.
It's incredible. It's truly amazing that can just, boom, you have it. Now, there are a couple of mistakes, right, that I can see. There's a point where it has two tails and it looks like its body is longer than it needs to be. But seriously, it's amazing. It has an extra set of legs for a couple of seconds.
Right there's the two tails.
Two tails.
And it has two hindquarters. I mean, it looks a little longer than the puppy should be. But if you're glancing at it,
front. Right. Amazing.
You wouldn't really even know that. And another one that I crafted with this, we'll show our viewers, is...
Oh, yeah, this building example is nuts.
This is also a Midjourney crafted image, and I told it to pan up, and it's at sunset, so the sun is going down, and you'll see in this that we've got the sun just descending and the clouds going through the sky. And it's just amazing that it conjured all of this. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, and so you showed me an example already. So check Warren's social feeds later, because he included those clips, or at least one of those clips, into one of your marketing videos. Are you posting that one on LinkedIn, or where are you putting that?
Yeah, LinkedIn is where I posted that one.
Yeah, you would never know. I would never have known that wasn't stock footage of a real place if you hadn't told me, right? Because it's a fancy picture, and then the video, and it's just a couple of seconds. I mean, no one would ever know that it's not just stock footage that somebody took somewhere, but it's a way to get it royalty free, to not have to worry about rights usage and other things like that. It's really great. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think my next post, I think I'm going to do tomorrow and probably record it today, but is using Runway to do to showcase a building like that and then post that to my social media, to my real estate perspectives and clients, and say, oh, look what this can do. Instead of having, some static images for your website, now you can create, this custom piece from a photograph. Let's say
and I would like
can
to
afford
see
that drone photo.
Right. I would like to see footage based off of a real photo instead of just a Midjourney photo. Kind of see if it can still do the same thing with the same level of quality. Because that was, the clouds moving in the sky. I mean, it looks like real video. It's nuts.
Right. So there's fantastic tools coming out every day. And as you and I both know, and probably our audience has researched this already, but OpenAI has their own tool that they haven't yet made public called Sora, for video. And I'm excited when that's going to come out. It'll be spectacular. We've already seen things like this. And as I was telling you with Runway here, I saw an article about them partnering with a movie studio, Lionsgate Studio, to do a Hollywood production video with AI. So it's going to be fascinating to see, what that's going to look like in the future. Forget CGI. How is that going to impact things?
Well, one of the things that we were already looking at, so Magnific is another tool that can upscale images in this incredible way. And one of the use cases that they put on their website is like redoing old movies. And there are some brilliant performances from old movies, some brilliant acting that frankly younger audiences, even me, like I struggle to watch footage from old movies because the footage is so bad. But imagine if you could take some of those classics and view them in 8K UHD, footage that's been enhanced by artificial intelligence, and then suddenly so movie studios have to be looking at that. And if they're not looking at it, they should be looking at it now, right? Because they could take out their library of potentially non-racist material. I remember Disney unlocked its vault and they were like, no, we'll put some things back in when they started Disney Plus. But there's definitely material that's out there that could be enhanced by AI, and then you can have some incredible results. So hopefully we'll see that happen.
Right. And I'm excited for that frontier to see what they're going to achieve with it. Every day there's something new that comes out, and I'm like, ooh. So it's like it's like the dog in Up, squirrel.
But the frontier of artificial intelligence, it's still the frontier, right? It's still growing. There's still plenty to do, plenty to learn. If you're watching this for the first time and you've never even heard of these tools, don't worry. It's still the cutting edge, right? So we want to thank you for coming and visiting us today at Tingenuity AI. Every Monday, we have a Midjourney Monday. We explore some video from some image tools. And then we also have regular chats on our YouTube channel here about different AI topics and AI updates. We look forward to seeing you around. And if you like this video, subscribe, come follow us, follow our social channels and our businesses. And we're happy to just share with you and have you along for the ride.